Good evening, Adab, Namaskar. We are here once again presenting you a new episode of Poetry and Literary Group, popularly known as PLG. And as I always say, that we present different type of programs because our motto is to connect people with literature. And if we want to connect people with literature, it's not just enough to present our own poetry, to read our own poetry. It's very important that we read our legends. We know how our legends have written. This really connects us to the treasure of our literature. And it's not only connects, when we read our legends and we know how they write, then our writing skills also improve. The poet whom we have selected this month, as you all know, that every month we take a poet, renowned poet, and we all read in that episode not our poetry, but the legends, the selected legends poetry. And we select legends in turn from different language, which is part of our group, and that's English, Hindi, and Urdu. And today's turn is English, and the poet whom we have selected is known for his everlasting character, creation of that everlasting character, and that character is, you all can unmute yourself now. What's that character? Anybody?
Gangadin.
Well, some more guesses.
Mowgli.
Mowgli.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Can anybody replicate the sound of Mowgli here? Exactly. You all can unmute yourself.
उसका जो हिंदी वर्जन बना था उसका गाना गा सकती हूँ.
Yeah, please. Can you please?
जंगल जंगल बात चली है, पता चला है, चड्डी पहन के फूल खिला.
Wow. So, such a poet who has created this so popular, so appealing character, and that's the beauty of a poet who creates with words some character which sets in our mind, which we feel like it is a real character. It is there. It is a part of our life. And I'm sure anybody, especially people in India, must have heard about Mowgli. But how many of us knew that Mowgli was written by Rudyard Kipling? Probably many of us don't know. And this is where this program, helps us to know about, those treasures, to know about the poets, to know what those people have written. And it enhances our canvas, it enhances our skills, and it will definitely help us in improving ourselves. Rudyard Kipling, his full name, Joseph Rudyard Kipling, was born on December 30, 1865 in, any guesses where? In that time it was called Bombay, and now it's known as Mumbai. And he died on 18th January 1936 in London, England. He wrote many short stories. He was a poet. He was a novelist. He is remembered for his celebration of his tales and poems, and especially for children's. And he received Nobel Prize for Literature in 1907. So he was such a great poet. And to be very honest, until this program was announced, I started reading about Rudyard Kipling. Even I didn't know how great that poet was. And that's why I keep telling that this program of PLG is very close to my heart, and I'm sure you all must be loving this program very much, because this makes us familiar with our legends. And to bring this program to life, we have a young student of Zindal College of Engineering, Rudyard, who is in third year of electrical engineering. He read his first poetry was published in PLG World Book Record, and he's a regular poet in PLG. As you know, we don't give much introduction of poet today, rather we give more introduction about the selected poet whom we are celebrating as legend, more about him. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the noise of your e-claps, let's welcome Ronak Agarwal. Ronak Agarwal, are you there? Can you listen to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ronak, please. The stage
Hello,
is yours. Please go ahead.
audible? Yeah. So first of my hearty wishes to Bhai for beautiful book and Arif Bhai, the expert of the science, for the smooth view controlling from stage. It is all done for the band to make the smooth. So here we go. Very respected professor, poet, and other distinguished Ronak Agarwal, students of OPs in India, to all in the great Kipling. You are a poet from beginning, as I to tell, sir. I will make you know the poet. So, John Locke had met and at Stafford's side in Kipling are the name Rudyard after Rudyard, England. Kipling's parents and Kipling was in Bombay, light and dark, leave India. He and his sister were sent in the boarding, and they had to torture religion and issues. Effort is his only relief, and hope.
I think Ronak has some problem in his connection. So I will take you through the journey till Ronak joins back. To present Rudyard Kipling's poem, I would like to first call upon Meenakshi Shetty. Meenakshi ji, are you there? Yes, she is very much there. Meenakshi ji is a resident of Canada. She was born in Jalgaon in Punjab, but did her schooling and university education. She took university education in Canada.
Hello.
She is very passionate about
am I audible?
the literature, And she has read a lot about William Shakespeare and Edward Cummings and many others. She has read a lot of books on life and motivation and philosophy. But today, we are going to listen a poem written by Rudyard Kipling from Meenakshi. Meenakshi ji, please welcome on the stage. Please welcome her with a big round of claps.
Thank you, PLG. Good morning and good evening to all fellow poets. Once again, I am grateful for the opportunity to recite on the PLG platform. I appreciate the continued support from all the people, especially Simmiji, for always encouraging me to come and recite. So today I will be reciting the poem called The
Most welcome.
Song. This poem is from his book called Reward and Fairies. And I would like to present this poem to all the audience and the poets of Poetry and Literary Group International. And I will leave this poem to your imagination, as I don't think I have the words that can explain the depth of this poem. So, An Astrologer's Song by Rudyard Kipling. To the heavens above us, oh, look and behold the planets that love us, all harnessed in gold. What chariots, what horses against us shall bide, while the stars in their courses do fight on our side. All thought, all desires that are under the sun are one with their fires, as we also are one. All matter, all spirit, all fashion, all frame, receive and inherit their strength from the same. Oh, man that deniest, all power save thine own. Their power in the highest is mightily shown, not less in the lowest that power is made clear. Oh, man, if thou knowest what treasure is here. Earthquakes in her throes, and we wonder for why. But the blind planet knows when her ruler is nigh. And attuned since creation to perfect accord, she thrills in her station and yearns to her Lord. The waters have risen, the springs are unbound, the floods break their prison and raven around. No rampart withstands them. Their fury will last till the sign that commands them sinks low or swings past. Through abysses unproven or gulfs beyond thought, our portion is woven, our burden is brought. Yet they that prepare it, whose nature we share, make us who must bear it, well able to bear. Though terrors o'ertake us, will not be afraid. No power can unmake us, save that which has made. Nor yet beyond reason or hope shall we fall. all things have their season, and mercy crowns all. Then doubt not, ye fearful, the eternal is king. Up, heart, and be cheerful, and lustily sing. What chariots, what horses against us shall bide, while the stars in their courses do fight on our side. Thank you.
That's wonderful recitation of an astrologer's poem. Thank you, Meenakshi ji, for
Thank you.
sharing that wonderful poem with us.
Thank you.
Ronak, are you there back? I think he has some connection issues. Rudyard Kipling was from a family who was closely associated with literature. His father, John Lockwood Kipling, was an artist and a scholar who had considerable influence on his son's work, means Rudyard Kipling's book, became curator of Lahore Museum and is described presiding over this wonder house in his first chapter of Kim, Rudyard's most famous novel. His mother, Alice MacDonald, two of whose sisters married the highly successful 19th century painters Sir Edward Burne-Jones and Sir Edward Poynter, while a third married Alfred Baldwin, who became the mother of Stanley Baldwin, the later Prime Minister. These connections are of lifelike importance to Rudyard Kipling. Right. The next poem which has been selected is a very famous poem, If. And there were a lot of demand for this poem, If. So many people wanted to take If. So it must be very interesting poem. But the young girl who is going to present this poem finally in front of you, she's a very talented young poet. And at this age, she is well connected to literature. I first heard on a stage few years back where she posed so many questions. Why? And many of us didn't have an answer for those whys. At least I didn't have many of those whys I could not answer. She is none other than very talented young girl, Anusha Shrink. So let's hear this very famous poem, If, from her. Anusha, over to you. The stage is yours.
Thank you, sir. A very good evening to one and all present here. First of all, I would like to give my heartfelt thanks to Fail sir for the wonderful introduction, to Simi auntie and the entire PLG group for giving me this amazing opportunity to say one of the most reputed poems of Rudyard Kipling. Oh, and I would also like to thank my mother for encouraging me to take up this chance, even though it's in the middle of my half-yearlies. Before starting, I would like to give a brief introduction of this poem, If. It is an inspiring poem which tells us about the many traits and ideals that one needs to follow and implement in their life to live a fulfilling and successful life. So without further ado, I would now recite the poem, If. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good or talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginning and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, and if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Thank you, and I hope all of you enjoyed it.
Very nice.
Very nice, Anusha. We are really impressed with the way you recited this poem.
Beautifully recited, Anusha.
Lovely, lovely. And I really admire your presentation skills. The way you presented a brief about the poem and then you recite the poem. That's really nice, and it's helpful to all of us to understand the poem better. Ronak, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please
Hello.
go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Now we move on to the country celebrating 75 years of the independence, and that is India. He is a 5th grade enthusiastic student interested in sports, studying in Tarapur School, Jamshedpur, India. He took part in various quiz programs and cultural functions, and is the youngest poet of PLG, beginning his journey in literature. Please welcome Hardik Agarwal. Hardik, the stage is yours.
Good evening, one and all present here. I would like to thank PLG for giving me opportunity to speak in the international stage. And thank you all the PLG respected members to give me opportunity to do this poem. My poem name is When the Earth Last Picture is Painted. When the Earth's last picture is painted and the tubes are twisted and dry, when the oldest scholars have faded and the youngest critic has died, we shall rest and wait, we shall need it. Lie down for an aeon or two, till the master of the all good workmen shall put us on the work anew. And those that were good shall be happy. They'll sit in the golden chair, they'll splash at a 10-league canvas with brushes at Comet's hair. They'll find real saints to draw from. Magdalene, Peter, and Paul, they'll work for an age for sitting and never be tired at all. And only the master shall praise us, and only the master shall brain, and no one will work for money, no one will work for the fame, but each one for the joy of the working, and each in a separate star will draw the thing as he says it for the God that thinks as they are. Thank you.
You have made us realize the beauty of the earth. Thank you, Hardik.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Let's move on to
I think Ronak has lost his connection once again. So his connection seems to be a roller coaster. So let me take you forward. Such a lovely writer whom we admire a lot. We read and we enjoy his poem. But do we all know that his childhood was very, very treacherous? He led an unhappy childhood, as Kipling was taken to England by his parents at the age of 6 and was left for 5 years at a foster home. He has horrible experiences of that estate, and it is described in semi-autobiographical stories named as Baba Black Sheep in 1988. We have next poem in our list, and that's recited by a young girl, Rishika Mishra. She is from United Kingdom. She is 8 years old and she is studying as Dr. Chalonel's High School. Correct me if my pronunciation is wrong of the school. Her hobbies are swimming, sports, and watercolor painting. She likes to write stories and put things straight out of her imagination. And we would be very happy to invite you to our storytelling program where you can recite your own poetry. But today, she is going to present another masterpiece of Rudyard Kipling, and that's a poem, Recessional, God of Our Fathers. Please welcome Rishika with a big round of e-claps. Rishika, the stage is yours. Unmute yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Rishika. Before I recite the poem, I would like to thank PLG for giving me the opportunity to recite a poem on their international stage. So your pronunciation was correct. My age is actually 13 years old.
Thank you.
Now we'll proceed to recite this amazing poem. God of our fathers, known of old, Lord of our far-flung battle line, beneath whose awful hand we hold dominion over palm and pine, Lord God of hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget, lest we forget. The tumult and shouting dies, the captains and kings depart. Still stands thine ancient sacrifice, and humble and contrite heart. Our Lord God of hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget, lest we forget. Far cold our navies melt away, on dune and head-held sinks the fire. Lo, all a prompt of yesterday is one neve entire. Judge of the nations, spare us yet, lest we forget, lest we forget. If drunk with the sight of power we lose, wild tongues that have not thee in awe, such boastings as the gentles use, or lesser breed without the law. Lord God of hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget, lest we forget. Heathen heart that puts her trust in reeking tube and iron shard, although in dust that builds on dust, and guarding calls not thy to guard. For frantic boast and foolish word, thy mercy on thy people, Lord. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it.
Very nice.
Thank you, Rishika. Very nice.
Well done, Rishika.
Very well recited. And as I said, You like to write stories, so we will definitely invite you in our next story writing program
Thank you, sir.
where you can share your own stories.
Thank you.
We welcome our Global Vice President, Satish Sethi on board. Ronak, are you on or shall I continue? I think he's still offline. There are some power issues in his place. After those horrible years of his early childhood and spending some more time in UK, Kipling returned back to India in 1882 and worked for 7 years as journalist. His parents belonged to highest category of Anglo-Indian society, and thus Rudyard had the opportunity for exploring the whole range of life in India. He was a keen observer of India, which had engaged his interest and affection from earliest childhood. He was quickly filling the journalist he worked for with the prose sketches and light verses. He published the verses collection, Departmental Deities, in 1886. The short story collection, Plain Tales from the Hills, in 1888. And between 1887 and 1889, he brought out 6 paper-covered volumes of short stories. As you know, he was not only a poet, he was a story also. I'm wondering, nobody selected any story to tell today. But if somebody in the meantime can prepare a story, can look for his one of the story, I would love to include that into this program to complete the whole range of his literary skills. The next in our list is Sharia, a student of ISM Oman. She's a very good dancer and swimmer. And when I asked her introduction, she says she likes multiplication but not division. The explanation of that she only will give to you all. In the meantime, I must tell that she has high interest in literature. Otherwise, how can you see such a young girl in a literary program? Shreya, please unmute yourself and put on your video. Shreya, can you hear me? Shreya, are you able to listen to me? Yeah, here she is. Your sound is not coming. You have some issues with the speaker, please. No, your sound is not coming. You have no, your sound is still not coming. Are you connected with any mic? What I would suggest, Shreya, that you, Shreya, we are not able to listen to you. What I would suggest is that you log out yourself and log in again. And the next time what you do is, when they ask, the Zoom asks for permission, you say, okay, to permit the mic to be connected to your Zoom system. If you don't give permission, your voice will not come. So you log out and log in. We will call you again after some time, right? Okay. So we were talking about the literary journey of Kipling. Let's continue. So after those publications, 6 paperback covered volume collection of short stories between 1887 and 1889, where among those were Soldiers 3, The Phantom Rickshaw, containing the story The Man Who Would Be the King, which is a very famous story, and Wee Willie Winkie, containing Baba Black Sheep, which is the stories which tell about his horrible experiences while in the foster home. Kipling returned to England in 1889, and by that time he was a very reputed writer. And within no time, he was acclaimed as one of the most brilliant prose writers of his time in England. His fame was redoubled upon the publication in 1892 of the verse collection Barrack Boom Ballads, which contained such popular poems as Mandal, Ganga Din, and Danny Diva. Not since the late English poet Lord Byron had such a reputation been achieved so rapid. When the poet laureate Alfred Lord Tennyson died in 1892, it may be said that King Kipling took his place in the popular estimation. So the next poem which we have selected is 4 Feet by Vivo. This is another very famous poem written by Kipling. And this poem is brought to you by Vihana, a very soft-spoken doll of ISM Oman. She is very sentimental during her class, but she is very much attached to literature. She loves and likes literature, and that's very evident from the fact that she has selected a poem and reciting in this literary program. So please welcome Vihana with a big hand. A big round of clap. Vihana, can you hear me? Vihana, are you there?
तो वो लोग जुड़ नहीं पा रहे हैं सर.
Okay.
विहाना और श्रेया एक ही कंप्यूटर पे हैं, जुड़ नहीं पा रहे हैं.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay.
So, who was before that? The last one. Are you reconnected?
No, sir, they are not there.
Shreya, are you reconnected? No. So the next we take is, we have Farida Baramatiwala ji here. You might have heard many times Yusuf Bhai, who is a very famous poet, and he has a book to his honor also.
Yes, sir.
You might not have heard Farida ji before that. You might have seen her in some actings and all those things. But we must appreciate that, you know, the whole family is very much attached to literature, and her love for literature shows that she has taken time out and came here to recite a poem of Kipling. Farida ji is a resident of Wadi Kabir in Oman, and currently she is an avid artist who weaves very well. She is famous for her crochet work, and people admire her skills regularly. I wonder you would have put some of your crochet work on your background. Her work is displayed, but never mind, her work is displayed on Instagram regularly, and you can see her works in My Crochet Magic. So she is going to recite a poem from Rudyard Kipling, and that poem is Love Song of Hardale. So here is the famous poet also with us, Yusuf Bhai.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello.
Ji sir. Thank you so much. Hello everyone.
It is yours. Please welcome her with a big round of clap. Please show your presence there and your appreciation and love for the literature and poetry.
Thank you, sir. I'm really very happy to be here today as a participant contributing to literature in my small way. Thank you to Fel sir, Simiji for this wonderful opportunity and introducing me so well. I wouldn't have participated if Simiji had not insisted. I am a little nervous today. As
Most
this is my
welcome,
first time.
Faridaji, most welcome.
Thank you, Simiji. As this is my first time as a participant on this big platform. Today I'm reciting.
Should not last, ma'am.
Ji, thank you.
Definitely,
Today,
it is the beginning.
Yes.
Yes, maybe. Today I'm reciting poem by Rudyard Kipling, which is about a Pathan girl living on a hilltop and singing a love song to call back her lover Rudyard. Yes, the poem also is aptly titled as The Love Song of Rudyard. Alone upon the housetop to the north, I turned and watched the lightning in the sky. The clamor of thy footsteps in the north. Come back to me, beloved, or I die. Come back to me, beloved, or I die. Below my feet, the still bazaar is laid. Far, far below, the weary camels lie. The camels and the captives of thy raid. Come back to me, beloved, or I die. Come back to me, beloved, or I die. My father's wife is old and harsh with years, and drudge of all my father's house am I. My bread is sorrow, and my drink is tears. Come back to me, beloved, or I die. Come back to me, beloved, or I die. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Very nice recitation, Farida ji.
Thank you so much, Tufel bhai.
The way you brought the poem, it really added life to the poem.
Thank you.
Your explanation also helped us to understand the poem better.
Thank you so much.
Right. Are the names which were called earlier, any of them are back? Vihana, are you here? Or what was her name? The other one?
Shreya.
Shreya. No, Shreya has already stayed, no? So Vihana or what was that?
Sahania.
No, Vihana or Shreya. Shreya, are any of you there? No, so we move forward. Kipling married to Caroline Ballister in 1892, the sister of Walcott Ballister, an American publisher and writer with whom he had collaborated in the Nolakha 1892 publication. And it was about a facile and unsuccessful romance. They moved to United States and settled on Mrs. Kipling's property in Vermont. But his lifestyle was different. And the Americans of that time did not like their manners and attitude, which were considered objectionable by their neighbors. Unable to adjust to the life in America, the Kiplings returned to England in 1896. Right, so the next poem which we are going to bring to you is The Glory of the Garden. And this poem is brought to you by one of our another regular 11th grade student of Indian School, Muscat, Oman. She has interest in dancing, singing. She writes poetry, and she loves drawing and cooking. And these are she is a very regular attendee of PLG programs, and she is our young ambassador of PLG. Not only PLG, I would say that she is a young ambassador of literature, because then people see such young boys and girls participating in poetry, in literary program. You think that the literature is in safe hands. And it's important that the young children participate in such programs so that their interests grow and there are people to take over the baton. Please welcome Shrivani with a big round of applause. Shrivani, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Tufel sir. And I would also like to thank this platform of PLG for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And the poem of my choice, as mentioned before, is The Glory of the Garden, wherein it's by Rudyard Kipling, and you can find a couple of religious connotations. The poem mainly talks of a garden with workers, which symbolize the citizens of the country. The country is England, but this can be applied for the world. The poem talks of a the poem is trying to say that there is no one that must sit idle. Everyone has a job in this garden, in the garden of a nation that is symbolized here, and therefore everyone should contribute. So it goes like this. Our England is a garden that is full of stately views, of borders, beds, and shrubberies, and lawns and avenues, with statues on the terraces and peacocks strutting by. But the glory of the garden lies in more than meets the eye. For where the old thick laurels grow, along the thin red wall, you'll find the tool and potting sheds, which are the heart of all, the cold frames and the hot houses, the dung pits and the tanks, the rollers, carts and drain pipes, with the barrows and the planks. And there you'll see the gardeners, the men and prentice boys, told off to do as they are bid, and do it without noise. For, except when seeds are planted, and we shout to scare the birds, the glory of the garden, it abideth not in words. And some can pot begonias, and some can bud a rose, and some are hardly fit to trust with anything that grows. But they can roll and trim the lawns and sift the sand and loam, for the glory of the garden occupieth all who come. Our England is a garden, and such gardens are not made by singing, "Oh, how beautiful," and sitting in the shade, while better men than we go out and start their working lives at grubbing weeds from gravel paths with broken dinner knives.
There is not a pair of legs so thin. There is not a head so thick. There's not a hand so weak and white, nor yet a heart so sick. But it can find some needful job that's crying to be done. For the glory of the garden glorifieth everyone. Then seek your job with thankfulness and work till further orders. If it's only netting strawberries or killing slugs on borders. And when your back stops aching and your hands begin to harden, you will find yourself a partner in the glory of the garden. Oh, Adam was a gardener, and God, who made him, sees that half a proper gardener's work is done upon his knees. So when your work is finished, you can wash your hands and pray for the glory of the garden, that it may not pass away. And the glory of the garden, it shall never pass away. Thank you.
Beautiful.
That's very well recited, Shivani. And the explanation that you gave was really nice. It gives the gist of the story and of the poem. And it helped us to understand the poem much better. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the next is, before we take the next poem, as you know that every week we bring a magazine. The magazine is based on the poems which were recited in the last episode of PLG. So, Vibaji, are you there? It's the half time and we would like to bring the magazine. Vibaji, can you hear me?
So, Mummy is a little busy, so
Okay.
I would
Right.
like to take up the magazine.
Oh, very
Please.
nice.
Very nice. Yes.
With your permission.
Yeah, please. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. So here is the magazine of the last session, and the pic is by Zoeb Dalal sir, who spent 40 years living in Oman, after which he went forward and now he's living in India as an entrepreneur. He is an enthusiast of literature, and my mother was telling me he is a great enthusiast of literature, and that the posters and his drawings, he prepares them very quickly and very enthusiastically. That was nice to listen about. और यहाँ पे
Thank you.
इस पिक्चर में ये पिक्चर हमारी जीवन नौका को दर्शाता है, और आगे टॉपिक हमारे सेशन का था, सेशन 129, सुबह टॉपिक था, तो यहाँ पे उसके बारे में लिखा है.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
यहाँ पे कंटेंट्स है, और उसके बाद हमारे पोएट्स ने जो भी अपनी पोएट्रीज सुनाए थे वो यहाँ पर है.
Beautiful.
Excellent presentation,
Shivani.
Shivani.
और यहाँ पर हमारे आगामी जो भी हमारे प्रोग्राम्स होंगे उसका लिस्ट है, और ये हमारे पोएट्स थे जिन्होंने सुनाया था. थैंक यू.
Very well displayed, Shivani. I'm really impressed with your presentation.
बहुत अच्छा, मम्मी का जगह ले लिया आपने.
बिल्कुल, मम्मी की सीट आपने खतरे में डाल दी है.
Can you hear me?
Right.
Yeah, here. Who is there? We are hearing you. Who is there?
Ma'am, it's Shreya.
Okay,
Shreya, we are
Shreya,
hearing
so you are
beta.
back.
Yeah,
So-
she's back.
Actually, we logged into from a different thing, so we're able to access it now.
Very
Okay,
good,
okay.
very good. Very good. So, Shreya, we have already introduced you and your poem. So you can straight away come to your poem.
Yeah.
Okay. So just a second.
Yes, please.
Now, Shreya, don't move इधर उधर मत करो, फिर से गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. Start.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
The way through the woods. They shut the road through the woods 70 years ago. Weather and the rain have undone it again. And now you would never know there was once a road through the woods. Before they planted the trees, it's underneath the poppies and the heath. And the thin aminos only the keeper sees. That where the ring-dove roads and the bad girls roll at ease. There was once a road through the woods. Yet, if you enter the woods of a summer evening late, when the night air cools on the trout-ringed pools, where the outer whistles his mate, there fear not men in the woods because they see so few. You will hear the beat of a horse's feet and the swish of a skirt in the dew, steadily cantering through the misty solitude, as though they perfectly knew the old lost road through the woods, but there was no road through the woods. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. That was very well recited, and you took us through the woods, although there was no road through the wood. That's wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Rudyard Kipling wrote numerous short story collections and poetry collections, such as The Seven Seas, 1896. Kipling published his best-known novels in the 1890s, and immediately thereafter, his novel, The Light That Failed, 1890, is a story of a painter who goes blind and is dumped by the woman he loves. That's a masterpiece of novel.
Sir,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but Vihana is also here.
Okay, right. I will take you up.
Okay.
His novel, The Light That Failed, 1890, is a story of a painter going blind and is spawned by the woman he loves. Captain's Courageous, 1897, in spite of its sense of adventure, is burdened by excessive descriptive writing. Kim, 1901, is about an Irish orphan in India, and that's a classic novel. So these are a few information about Kipling's, which I keep on giving you between two poets. And I must give credit to Encyclopedia Britannica, from where I have taken these information. Yes, so we have here Vihana on board. She was not able to connect last time when we called. So Vihana, we have already given your introduction. So please come and recite the poem which you have selected, 4 Feet by Vivo.
I have done mostly what most men do and pushed it out of my mind. But I can't forget if I wanted to. 4 feet trotting behind. Day after day, the whole day too, wherever my road inclined, 4 feet said, I'm coming with you. And now I must go by some other route, which I never find, which I shall never find. Somewhere that does not carry the sound of 4 feet trotting behind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vihanna. That was very well recited. We really appreciate your interest in literature. You have participating at such a young age in this literary program, and I'm sure we will hear much more of literary pieces from you in future. Thank you for participating. Rudyard Kipling, most famous work, or one of the very famous works, because he had many famous works, is the Jungle Book, collection of stories which was published in 1894. And a second part of Jungle Book was published in 1895. That contains the stories liked by poems. The stories tells mostly in the voice of Mowgli, an Indian boy who is raised by wolves and learns self-sufficiency and wisdom from the jungle animals. That book describes the social life of the wolf pack and more fancifully the justice and the natural order of the life in jungle. Probably better than the human order of life in social setup. Among the animals whose tales are related in the work are Akela the wolf, Balu the brown bear, Sher Khan the boastful Bengal tiger who is Mowgli's enemy, Tabaki the jackal, Sher Khan's obscure servant, Ka the python, Bagheera the panther, the Rikki Tikki Tavi, the mongoose. These all are so famous characters, and it has been brought to so much of life by Kipling that these characters are etched in our mind. The moment somebody says Sher Khan, you don't think of the person living in our neighborhood. You think about the person in the Mowgli Jungle Book, right? So that's the power of personification of Kipling. Now, I would like to call upon the lady who volunteered to sing the song of Kipling, the Mowgli song. When we talk about Jungle Book, I must give that much of credit and return. She is going to bring to you The Female of the Spices, poem written by Rudyard Kipling. Momita ji lives in UK. She is a writer and a storyteller. And I'm sure we will have, she is probably coming for the first time in PLG, and I'm sure we will have a better and long-standing association with her. And I would like to invite you, Momita ji, to our storytelling program, when you can tell your stories. So right now, today we are going to listen a poem written by Kipling from her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome her with a big round of applause. Momita ji, you are mute.
Thank you very much, Tofarji. Thank you very much, everyone, for giving me the opportunity to recite after a long time. It's really difficult for me when Shraddha ji told me, yeah, you have to select something from Rudyard Kipling writing, and it was really difficult for me to choose which one to select. But finally, when I come across this this line, which I really sometimes, whenever I have time or whenever I feel to talk for female, I always say, yeah, female, this is the plus point. Oh, like female, this is the plus point. And we really sometimes during our college days, during our days with our friends, we normally keep a quote. We try to love to do the quote from this poem, which says, her species is more deadly than the male. You should know that. We used to tell our male friends, you should know that. And that we used to tell always, quote from this poem. And I love to start with this poem where Rudyard Kipling illustrate different species, female species, how they are deadlier than male. And then he focus on human species, male and female, especially how good mother a female is. In a way, I'd like to start this poem published in 1911. It starts with, when the Himalayan peasant meets the he-bear in his pride, he shouts to scare the monster, who will often turn aside. But the she-bear, thus accosted, rends the peasant tooth and nail, for the female of the species is more deadly than the male. When Nag, the basking cobra, hears the careless foot of man, he will sometimes wriggle sideways and avoid it if he can, but his mate makes no such motion where she comes beside the trail, for the female of the species is more deadly than the male. When the early Jesuit father preached to Hurons and Choctaws, they prayed to be delivered from the vengeance of the squaws. 'Twas the woman, not the warriors, turned those stark enthusiasts pale, for the female of the species is more deadly than the male. Man's timid heart is bursting with the things he must not say, for the woman that God gave him isn't his to give away, but when hunter mates with husbands, each confirms the other's tale, the female of the species is more deadly than the male. Man, a bear, in most relations, warm and savage otherwise, man propounds negotiation, man accepts the compromise. Very rarely will he squarely push the logic of a fact to its ultimate conclusion in unmitigated act. Fear or foolishness impels him, he lay the wicked low, the conceit some form of trial even to his fiercest foe. Mirth of sin diverts his anger, doubt and pity oft perplex him in dealing with an issue to the scandal of the sex, but the woman that God gave him, every fiber of her frame proves her launch for one sole issue, armed and entering for the same, and to serve that single issue, lest the generation fail, the female of the species must be deadlier than the male. She who faces death by torture for each life beneath her breast may not deal in doubts or pity, must not serve for fact or jest. These be purely male diversions, not in this her honor dwells. She, the other law we live by, is that law and nothing else. She can bring no more to living than the powers that make her great, as a mother of the infant and the mistress of the maid. And when babe and man are lacking, and she strives unclaimed to claim her right as femme, the parent, her equipment is the same. She is wedded to convictions in default of grosser ties. Her contentions are her children. Heaven help him who denies. He will make no swift decision, but the instant, white-hot, wild, vacant female of the species, worrying as for spouse and child, unprovoked and awful charges, even so the she-bear fires, speech that drips, corrodes, poisons, even so cobra bites, scientific vivisection of one nerve till it is raw, And the victim writes in anguish, like the Jesuit with the scroll. So it comes that man, the coward, when he gathers to confer with his fellow braves in council, dare not to leave a place for her, where, at war with life and conscience, he uplifts his erring hands to some god of abstract justice which no woman understands. And man knows it, knows moreover that the woman that God gave him must command but may not govern, shall enthrall but not enslave him, and she knows because she wants him, and her instincts never fail. And the female of her species is more deadly than the male. Thank you.
That's very well recited. And when I listen to you, I remember that, this is very familiar way of recitation or presentation. And then I recall that, no, it's not the first time. You have earlier come to PLG stage and you have participated, I think, in one of their storytelling programs.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember that, your way of presentation, your accent and your telling of the, the verses. So I stand corrected.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for reciting the poem very well. So, Keshji, you wanted to say something?
Very, very nicely presented, Mamtaji. Very nice.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
True. Rudyard Kipling bought a house in Sussex, a county in England, which remained his house until the death. And this place in Sussex was the background of many of his later writings, especially the books Puck in the Pook's Hill and the Rewards and the Fairies, 1910. The first one was 1906. 2 volumes that, although devoted to the simple dramatic presentation of English history, embodied some of the deepest intuitions of Kipling. With these few words about Kipling's, I would like to invite Sanaya. Are you online?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So she's going to present a poem written by Kipling's A Child's Garden.
Yeah.
She's a student of ISM, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. So please welcome her with a big round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. This is Shania, and I will be reciting a poem called A Child's Garden by Rudyard Kipling. Now there is nothing wrong with me except I think it's called TB. And that is why I have to lay out in the garden all day. Our garden is not very wide and cars go by on either side and make an angry hooty noise that rather startles little boys. But worst of all is when they take me out in cars that growl and shake, with caravanks so dreadful near, I have to shut my eyes for fear. But when I'm on my back again, I watch Croydon aeroplane that flies across France and sings like hitting thick piano strings. When I am strong enough to do the things I am truly wishful to. I'll never use a car or train, but always have an aeroplane and just go zooming round and round and frighten nursery with the sound of clouds and spit on all of those motor crowds. Thank you.
Very well recited, Shania.
Thank you.
You really put some life to the poem. Thank you very much for being part of this program and bringing this nice poem to us. And we hope to see you more on this literary program, in this literary platform.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Rudyard Kipling received Nobel Prize for Literature in 1907. And do you know something unique about this honor? He was the first Englishman to be honored with the Nobel Prize. So with that information, I would like to call upon Priya Agrawal. Are you there on board? Priya ji, are you there on the board? Yes, she is there. So,
Yes, sir.
Priya ji is going to bring to you a poem written We and They by, of course, Rudyard Kipling. Let me just give you a little information about Priya ji. She is a homemaker and expert in baking. So the next time you visit the town where she lives, please make sure to visit and have some of the baked stuff from her. She uses to make variety of cakes, especially milk cake. So don't miss that. She is willing to take part in the many literary program, and we can see her love for literature that she often participates in celebrating the legend program of PLG. And here she is bringing to you a nice poem written by Rudyard Kipling. Please welcome her with a big round of applause.
Thank you, sir.
Most welcome.
Hello,
Yeah,
hello,
please.
everyone. Hello. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, PLG team, for inviting me to celebrate the great legend. It is my pleasure to be here. My poem, We and They, I have chosen this because poet has shown two contrasting culture very nicely. So here is my poem, We and They. Father and mother and me, sister and auntie say, all the people like us are we and everyone else is they. And they live over the sea while we live over the way. But would you believe it? They look open we as only a sort of they. We shoot birds with a gun, they stick lion with spears. Their full dress is on, we dress up to our ears. They like their friends for tea, we like our friends to stay. And after all that, they look upon we as an utterly ignorant they. All good people agree, and all good people say, all nice people like us are we, and everyone else is they. But if you cross over the sea instead of over the way, you may end by looking on we as only a sort of they. Thank you.
That's very well recited.
Thank you.
Beautiful poem written by Rudyard Kipling.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Most welcome. Rudyard Kipling and poems were and stories and poems were extremely popular in the late 19th century and the early 20th century. But his fame got a decline after the World War I, and because of his reputation as a serious writer suffered, for him being widely viewed as an ardent imperialist. His work was characterized by extreme patriotism, especially in the form of aggressive or warlike foreign policy. And that declined his popularity and his stature as a writer. Later on, the famous critic T.S. Eliot tried to restore some of them, some of his lost occupations, but still could not be fully rehabilitated. With that information, I would like to now call upon Urmila Agrawal ji to bring a poem written by Rudyard Kipling, Mother O' Mine. Let me give a little introduction about Urmila ji. She is a homemaker, a very good singer. If it were a Hindi program, we could have listened her singing also. She sings religious, self-written songs in various platforms. She is very keen on learning new skills and new things. And she is an expert of making variety of bags. I wish you could display some of the bags in the next program. Nevertheless, let's hear the poem Mother O' Mine written by Rudyard Kipling from Urmila ji. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome her with a big round of applause.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Very good evening to respected Tufail ji, Simi ji, Vibha ji, Kiran ji, Anupam ji, and other guests present here. I am thankful to all PLG team for giving me chance to recite a poem in this memorable evening under the anchoring of Ronald. But he is not here. As a mother, I am feeling very sorry as Ronak is not able to anchor the program due to load shedding in his college. Today, I am
He will do
going
next
to-
time. Don't worry about that. He will do next time. He will do very good. And he was well prepared, but unfortunately, you know, the power went off and he could not connect. But hopefully next time he will do in a better way.
Feeling very sorry, sir.
Not at all. Not at all. We always have, you know, a buddy system. You know that if something goes wrong, you know, there's another person to take place. So it's fine. If the program went well, doesn't matter. He will do next time very well.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Today, I am going to recite one of the famous poems written by a poet, Rudyard Kipling. The topic of my poem is Mother O' Mine. Mother O' Mine, O Mother O' Mine. If I were had on the highest hill, Mother O' Mine, O Mother O' Mine, I know whose love would follow me still. Mother O' Mine, O Mother O' Mine, when I know if I were drawn in the deepest sea, Mother O' Mine, O Mother O' Mine, I know whose tears would come down to me. Mother O' Mine, O Mother O' Mine, if I were damned of body and soul, Mother O' Mine, O Mother O' Mine, I know whose prayer would make me whole. Mother O' Mine, O Mother O' Mine, Mother O' Mine, O Mother O' Mine. Thank you, sir.
That's so well recited, Urmila ji. You have really done justice to this poem by reciting in a very effective manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next in our today's selected participants are, we are left with 3 participants, Dr. Puram Gnawa, Shaheen Ali ji and Zoed Dalal ji. If anyone else I have missed out, please give me a message, because as you just heard that I'm not the regular anchor for today, so I'm just doing without anything written with me. So if I might have, if I have missed anybody, please give me a buzz. So the next poem which we have selected is The Beginnings. And that will be brought to you by Dr. Poonam Grover. She's a doctor, but she is an ardent lover of literature. And she has been participating in our regular programs. She is a very accomplished poet. She's a social worker. And she is for last 33 years, she has been doing the service of the society by being a doctor. She is the chief of Inner Wheel Club, Hapur. And she is involved in many cultural and social activities. But today, let us hear, she is a very good poet also, very accomplished poet. But today we are not going to hear her own poetry. She is going to recite a poem of Rudyard Kipling. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome her with a big round of applause.
Good
evening, everyone.
Please mute Priya ji. There is a lot of noise coming from her side.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for such an introduction. I am really blessed. I should say thanks a million, sir, for this thing being for my being here. You are a very huge tree, shading everyone and enthusiastic. Means I just want to say you are just an air of fresh air, imbibing everyone with a new beam of literature, smiles and everything. And with your partner, she is always a smile. Her smile enlightens everyone.
Thank you very much, Puramji. But what I feel is that we all are like banyan trees, where there's no one root. There are many roots, and each branch makes its own root, and it spreads the tree.
That's very.
So you are part of that banyan.
You are making it grow huge, larger, bigger. It is such a lovely. I just don't have word for you.
Thank you. But what I feel is that, like banyan tree, it is very difficult to find which is the original root. So I believe here Satish ji is there, and all these participants who are here, they also have cheese here. These all are part of that. The big banyan tree, where which is the original root, difficult to say, but all roots together make it clear.
Every root has its own importance. Sir, I'd like to say it is my proud privilege to be spending a weekend in my PLG family. It gives me a real a charm, passion, you can say, and everything. I really enjoy it, and it is in my honor to recite today a Nobel Prize awardee, Rudyard Kipling.
Most welcome.
I chose it about the beginning. Everyone knows every beginning has an end, but nobody knows from where it rooted out or from where it began. As we have our own art, our own existence, we are still digging deep into it from where it all began. There is a lot to find about there is a lot to be find and lot unwritten. We have to read between the lines the mystery of beginning. The beginning. It was not part of their blood. It was not part of their blood. It came to them very late, with long errors to make good when the English began to hate. They were not easily moved. They were icy willing to wait till every count should be proved, or the English began to wait.
Their voices were even and low, their eyes level and straight. There was neither sign nor show when the English began to hate. It was not preached to the crowd. It was not taught by the state. No man spoke it aloud when the English began to hate. It was not suddenly bred. It will not swiftly abate through the chilly years ahead. When time shall count from the date the English began to hate. We still have to find the meaning according to what we feel, and he was not in favor of imperialism. So the things are still to be sorted out, written there. We have to find the meaning. This is all what I had to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Poonamji, for reciting in such a nice, manner. Your voice modulations were excellent, and that brought to the real life to the poem.
Thank you so much.
Very, very well presented. Very well done. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir. Satish sir's comment, it means a lot to me. Tufel sir, you are so just, but you both, or I should say whole family gives it, I can just hold my hands folded.
Thank you for being, bringing such, life to the PLG programs, because the way you participate, the emphasis which I see you, that's really commendable.
Thank you.
Right, moving forward, the notable works of Rudyard Kipling include a number of early travel sketches collected in 2 volumes, From Sea to Sea, that was published in 1899, and the unfinished Something of Myself, posthumously published in 1941, which was a reticent essay in the autobiography. With this information, little bit of information I keep giving about Rudyard Kipling, and these all are taken from Encyclopedia Britannica and the Wikipedia, and I give credit to these 2 publications, the online publications. Right. With that, I would like to call upon Shaheen Ali. She is going to present Buddha at Kamakura. Shaheen Ali lives in Canada. She is a graduate, and her parents were based in Lucknow and later on migrated. She is brought up in Urdu-speaking family, and she has a deep interest in literature. She has been passionate about reading Urdu and English poetry and prose since her childhood days. So it would be very apt to listen a poem, English poem from her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome her with a big round of applause. Shaheen Ali, welcome.
Good morning and good evening, everybody, all the participants and the writers and the poets on this PLG International platform. And once again, I'm really very grateful to Kavi Sammelan for inviting me and giving me this opportunity, and Satish Shah, who always encourage me to participate. So I'm going to recite a poem by Rudyard Kipling. It is called Buddha at Kamakura. A little bit about this poem. It's profoundly a religious poem, but no less universal or accessible. Actually, it is rather a wonderful exaltation of humanism and a call for gentleness and understanding. So this poem was appeared in the Times in July 2nd, 1892 as a closing statement of an article, The Edge of the East. Later, one of the series which Kipling would later collect in letters of travel. So this poem is I'm going to get the, okay. And there is a Japanese idol at Kamakura. O ye who tread the narrow way, by top hat flare to judgment day, be gentle when the heathen pray to Buddha at Kamakura. To him the way, the law apart, whom Maya held beneath her heart, Ananda's Lord, the Bodhisattva, the Buddha of Kamakura. For though he neither burns nor sees, nor hears ye thank you deities, ye have not sinned with such as these, his children at Kamakura. Yet spare us still the Western joke, when joss sticks turn to scented smoke, the little sins of little folk that worship at Kamakura. The gray-robed, gay-sashed butterflies that flit beneath the master's eyes. He is beyond the mysteries, but loves them at Kamakura. And whoso will, from pride released, contemning neither creed nor priest, may feel the soul of all the East about him at Kamakura. Yeah, every tale Ananda heard of birth as fish or beast or bird, while yet in lives the master stirred, the warm wind brings Kamakura. Till drowsy eyelids seem to see a flower neath her golden thea, the Shui Dagon flare easterly from Burma to Kamakura. And down the loaded air there comes the thunder of Tibetan drums, and droned Om Mani Padme hums a world's width from Kamakura. Yet Brahmins rule Benares still. Bodh Gaya's ruins spit the hill, and bee-fed zealots threaten ill to Buddha and Kamakura. A tourist show, a legend told, a rusting bulk of bronze and gold, so much and scarce, so much ye yield, the meaning of Kamakura. But when the morning prayer is prayed, think ere ye pass to strife and trade. Is God in human image made? No nearer than Kamakura. Thank you so much.
Very well recited, Shaheen-ji. Very well recited.
Very well recited, Shaheen-ji. And that shows that your passion for the literature, that how much you are connected to literature, the way you recited, we can see that you are deeply involved into the poem, and it's like you made the artist alive, by your recitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
once again, thanks for the opportunity.
It's thank you for participating and making this program so lively with your powerful presentation. And thank you, Satish ji, for bringing all these, such talented people and such famous people to this platform. Kipling most famous work were probably, I would say, the children series. For very young children, Just So Stories, which was published in 1902, and the famous Jungle Book, published in 1894 and 1895. Jungle Book, although it's called children's work, but I think everybody throughout the age, without age limit, enjoys Jungle Book and its stories. I remember that when this series Jungle Book used to come on Doordarshan, the people who were present to see the serial, that included right from 3, 4-year, 4-year, 5-year children to the grandfathers, all were sitting together and seeing, and enjoying those characters. So that's the beauty of that book. It cannot, I would say that it is a children's book, although it's labeled as children's book. And further, the Book of the Pook's Hill and the Rewards and the Fairies. These were the books which made him so famous, and the characters which he wrote, those are everlasting characters, and that such was the brilliance of Rudyard Kipling. So now we are towards the end of the session today, and last but not the least, I would like to call upon Zeb Dalalji, who is going to recite one of the famous work of Kipling, and it was The Winners. And you would like to think that why Kipling, that's because to pay respect to him for drawing such a lively portrait of Rudyard Kipling, which can be seen in the background, which he had drawn himself. And in fact, he drew 2 of these sketches, and this one has been selected to put on the flyer as well. He's an engineer by profession, but he is, of course, he is an ardent lover of literature, and that can be seen from his passion towards the literature. The way he involves in all the literary programs, and the way he draws. He has been drawing for many months for all our celebrating the legends, posters and flyers and his own sketch. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Zeb Dalalji.
Thank you.
ज़ेब जी आपके 2 डिवाइसेस ऑन लगते हैं, एक बंद कर
ज़ेब जी आपका एक्सटर्नल माइक है, 2 डिवाइस है, एक दूसरे डिवाइस को ऑफ कर दें, उनमें से साउंड आ रही है। एक्सटर्नल माइक को आप ऑफ कर दें, उससे इको आ रही है।
No. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. No, you are muted.
Audible? Hello? Can you hear me? अरे आपको reverse है मैं. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now? No, I can't hear him. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever is a parallel. Thank you to PLG, Ji, Satish Ji, for giving me this opportunity to read Kipling. Rudyard lived in the Victorian ages, and there is a very famous quote, because he was in India. There's a famous quote that says, British gave Indians the railways and in English language. but we cannot connect with railways. The PLG cannot connect all the members with railways, but we do connect with English language. So here we are. I'm trying to read a poem. Winners. There's a very famous poem, and it reminds me of my school days. Where we had this syllabus and it came in exams. The description of the poem. Anyway, I'm going to read winners. The winners. What is the moral? Who writes read? When the night is thick, the tracks are blind. A friend is a friend. But a fool to wait for land behind, down to Gehenna or up to the throne. He travels the fastest who travels alone. Reminds me of the Bengali line by saying that ekle chalo. Remember this. Why hands cling to tighten the rain? Can you hear me? No. Hello. White hands cling to the tightened rein, slipping the spur from the booted heel. Tenderest voices cry, turn again. This one. High hopes faint on a warm hearthstone. He travels who travels alone. One may fail, but the falls by himself. Falls by himself with himself to blame. For himself to blame. One may attain, and to him a pelf spoils. Loot of the city in gold or fame. Plunder of earth shall be all their own. Who travels the fastest and travels alone. Wherefore, the more ye be holpen and stayed by a friend in the hour of toil. Sing the heretical song I made. His be the labor and yours be the spoil. Win by his aid and aid his own. He travels the fastest, who travels alone. Now, with the permission of the chair, I wanted to read a few lines from Gangadin. Gangadin was actually a character, Juma, and he was in the army, British Army. And he was very brave. But Rudyard Kipling gave him a name called Gangadin. You may talk of him in deer. When you are quartered out here, when you are sent to penny fights and unshot, when it comes to slaughter, you will do your work on water. And you lick the blooming boots, and that's got it. Now in India, when he says India, now India's sunny climate, where I used to spend my time, a serving of Her Majesty the Queen. He was in the Victorian age. Of all the lands too, the finest man I knew was the regimental Basti, Gangadin. He was Gangadin, din, or brick or dust, Gangadin. Hi, Slippy, idhar lao, water get it, pani pilao. You squeegee nosed old idol, Gangadin. And in the literature circle, they say the best line for Gangadin was this: "You are a better man than I am, Gangadin." Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zoebji, for very nice poems. And even bigger thank you for drawing the sketch of Rudyard Kipling, which we have used in the flyer. and which we'll be using for the cover magazine, which we'll be bringing next week. Thank you very much for being such an asset, I would say, to PLG. Right, before we go to the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Satish Sethi ji, Professor Satish Sethi ji, we call him, to say a few words before we conclude the program and go to the vote of thanks.
Thank you.
He's the Global Vice President of PLG and himself a very accomplished poet, and he's a chartered accountant, and he's many more things. But right now we are going to listen something about today's program. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Tufel Bhai. And today's program was very well done, and the poet we selected is one of my most favorite poet, and a lot of nostalgic memories were rekindled by his poems. And every poet or participant, I must say, recited and selected poems very, very well. And our mission is accomplished to connect people to literature, even though people who have keen interest in poetry but don't write themselves. And it was very nice to see those participants' selection of their poems and the way they recited. And it gives us all the opportunity to learn more about Rudyard Kipling, how accomplished poet he was, and especially the poem selected by Shaheen ji about his spiritual twist in the poetry. It was very, very, very nicely presented. And all the poets, they did a very good job. And
Thank you, Satish. Sorry.
And we always welcome comments and when you watch. So my request to the audience is please encourage our participants and poets by watching on YouTube and with encouraging comments. And thank you on behalf of Poetry and Literary Group International for listening and devoting your precious time to listen to our poetry. Thank you. Over to Tufel ji.
Thank you very much, Satish ji. That was a nice conclusion for today's program. It was really, as you said, that mission accomplished. We have that mission of connecting people to literature, and today we learned a lot about Rudyard Kipling. Honestly speaking, I didn't know much about Rudyard Kipling, although I had read his few of his poems. But with today's program, I came to know a lot about Rudyard Kipling, and I'm sure many of us would have enriched our knowledge about that great poet. And I must thank you all the participants today for for participating and taking part in this program. Of course, I will not go deep into it because the vote of thanks has to be given by Siddiqui. But I must appreciate the people who are present here right from the beginning towards the end. Shaheen Ali ji, Farida ji, she is present throughout the program with camera on. Zoeb Dalal ji, Satish Sethi ji, and of course Riba Tiwari ji right now, and before that Shivani. These screens were on all the time, and I have a special regards and a special thanks to you people, because you are the real what you call chariot of literature. Momita ji is here, Punam Grover ji is here, and Urmila ji is here, and a few more people. Farida ji participated for the first time, and she is here till the last. She recited in the beginning, and she is here till the end. That's really appreciated. Right. So the last ritual in today's program is the vote of thanks. Let's go to Simi ji and for the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Today's program, Celebrating the Legend, has been one of the very popular programs. This time, our poet was Nobel Prize winner, Rudyard Kipling. We came to know about many things about him. I didn't know he was the writer of Mowgli, Jungle Book. Thank you, PLG, for bringing such an amazing program. All poets were superb and recited very well. Sorry to say, today Ronak didn't join. He did a lot of preparation for Rudyard Kipling. No problem, Ronak beta, next time. Today's our poets recited Rudyard Kipling selected poems. Shrivani recited The Glory of Garden. Momita Gopeji recited The Female of Spices. Meenakshi Sethi recited An Astrologer's Song. Shahinji recited Buddha at Kamakura. Rishika Mishra recited Recessional God of Our Fathers. Shreya recited Through the Woods. Shrivani recited The Glory of the Garden. Vihana recited 4 Feet by Vivo. Shahania Khimji recited A Child's Garden. Farida ji recited Love Song of Hardyal. Anusha Singh recited If. Urmila ji recited Mother of Mine. Zoeb Dalal ji recited The Winners. Dr. Poonam Grover ji recited The Beginnings. Hardik Agarwal recited When Earth Last Picture is Painted. Priya Agarwal ji recited We and They. Thank you so much all poets for your wholehearted participation. I would like to thank Global President Tufail ji. I would like to thank Global Vice President respected Satish ji and Anupam Ramesh Kingar ji. I would like to thank Global Head Social Media Kapil Batra ji. I would like to thank all regional presidents Vibha ji, Panorma ji, Sharad ji, Aniruddha ji, and Khalid ji. I would like to thank Kapil Batra ji, Anupam Ramesh Kingar ji, and Anupam Kumar Pathak ji, and Shere Banu ji for the media report. For e-magazine, I would like to thank Chief Editor Vibha ji, Hindi Editor Purnima ji, Art Design Editor Dr. Shalini ji. I would like to thank Global Vice President Anupam Ramesh Kingar ji for Mulaqat Ek Azim Shakhsiyat. For the mentorship program, I would like to thank respected Satish ji, Kapil Batra ji, Anupam Ramesh Kingar ji, Ram Sarup Dikshit ji, Vinay Mohanta ji, Braj Kishore ji, Mustaq Sadar ji. For certificates, I would like to thank Manohar Rahman ji. For poster and video, I would like to thank Amir Tufail Ahmad. For press release, I would like to thank Nandita ji and Kiran ji. For cover page, I would like to thank Zoeb Dalal ji. I would like to thank Kiran ji for encouraging children to join PLG. Let's meet tomorrow at 7:30 IST. PLG is bringing Kahani Ke Sang, Suro Ke Rang. We will watch an event organized by Vipin Pandya ji, Global Vice President of PAG and Event Manager, Event Coordinator Shri Banu ji, Conceptualizer Kapil Nayyar ji, Anchor Anupapna ji, and all storytellers. Request to all members, please join. Till then, good night, Sabah Khair, Shubh Ratri.
Thank you very much. Signing off.